Hey guys, so I want to talk about being in maintenance at this point and the successful reverse dieting process and all that stuff. So I just have to say that I definitely felt a shift when I reached my maintenance calories. I feel like that's definitely where it needs to be. I felt a lift for sure. However, there is some aspects to it that I want to talk about. I think that a lot of people can get caught up in anhedonia when they go to maintenance. And let's talk about it. So, I've told you guys many times, like, as I've increased my calories, I could feel my serotonin going up, particularly in the brain, which it makes the dopamine seem lower. So, at this point, right now, which we're at the winter solstice as well, but even though it's like warmer today, it's kind of weird here, but that's the psyop for you. We're at the winter solstice, so anything hypo related, it should be peaking, and it's not that bad, honestly. But my dopamine feels like it's at the floor. And I do have anhedonia, which is basically where you can't really enjoy much of anything. It's hard to focus on anything. I even had serotonin nightmares last night. I swear it wasn't just because I watched The Substance, even though, gosh, if they did like a fat version of The Substance, that would be crazy. Um, oh my gosh, I wish there was a fat version of it. But anyways, maybe that's an idea for a sequel for the people who made it. It was a good movie, but the point is, I had some serotonin nightmares last night. I'm going through a little bit of a shift, being in maintenance, clearly. And I think what happens to people is they get caught up in the feeling of a lack of pleasure. When I was doing the reverse dieting process, it was unlike any other time where I had eaten more. Because most of the time, when I was eating more, I was essentially just eating and eating and eating. So like when I would go on my trips to LA, or when I would just go, like whenever I'd be off the diet, basically I would just eat as much as I wanted, basically. Even like last December, for that 3 weeks, I was so tired and hypo. And that was a weird one. That was like an in-between, because I was very like serotonin-y, like I felt disgusted, but I also felt so hypo and hungry. So that was weird. I even have a video on here called like serotonin-y disgust versus hypo hunger. Like it was happening at the same time a year ago, which was really weird. This time, no. So I think what people don't understand about going to maintenance or about doing a reverse dieting process is that you experience the increase in serotonin, but you don't have limitless dopamine because you're not just eating all the time. Because whenever I would just eat whatever I wanted, when I would get off plan, obviously I would gain weight. But I also had enough dopamine where I didn't feel anhedonia, or anhedonia, however you pronounce it. I looked it up, but I think it's anhedonia. I didn't feel that. But as I've been doing the reverse dieting process, there are times where I would feel that way, or it's like I feel very, very, very low dopamine. Like a few days ago, I was so unfocused, literally could not work, or could not get out of bed to save my life, like had no motivation, extremely unfocused, could barely think. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? It's like dopamine at the floor, basically. And it's because I'm eating more, so the serotonin goes up, but there's no limitless eating. So the dopamine doesn't go up with it. So then you're just low dough, extremely low dough. And I think what happens to people is they perceive this. And so they just start eating and eating and eating to try to mitigate that feeling of anhedonia, that feeling of no pleasure, that feeling of feeling nothing or boredom or whatever. And so they try to eat and eat and eat. And that creates a weight gain cycle right after going to maintenance or during a reverse dieting process. And then you have like those fitness influencers, that one, he's like, you experience so much food noise and you experience this and da, da, da. If you do a reverse dieting process, it's like, yeah, but you would also experience it going into maintenance. If anything, it would be even worse because you'd go straight to maintenance. You'd have a massive serotonin spike, zero dopamine, and it would be probably even more overwhelming. Like when I reverse dieted, it was manageable. The feelings were manageable. Now that I've reached maintenance, it's like, whoa, this is really anhedonia, like crazy, which is, it's okay for me. Like I'm used to that feeling to a certain extent because it's kind of happened off and on since I was mid-sized princess, but it's really crazy at this time where it's like, wow, like I'm literally, like the only thing that I'm stimulated by is like horror or gross stuff or, you know, things like The Substance. I was fascinated with that movie because that's the kind of thing that can make me feel something a lot of the time. Or it's like I feel so just almost like understimulated but also overwhelmed. Like it's just weird. It's a weird feeling because in my opinion, higher serotonin, it makes you more like nervy, where it's like, let's say you have an itchy sweater, like it's Christmas time, right? Let's say you have an itchy Christmas sweater. If you're serotonin-y, that itchiness of that sweater is going to drive you nuts, or like your sense of disgust will be really strong. So like you're just more sensitive about certain things, but at the same time you can be totally understimulated or even less emotional. Like you become a little bit more numb, which I'm not like crazy numb or anything, but I'm not like normal. Like usually for me, I'm like very emotional. I don't feel that way. I'm a little bit muted, which it's fine. Like I have energy and stuff, but it gives a little bit of like, it's like a remnant, or it's like a reminder of when I was in the MSP era. Like I was kind of numb. Same thing when I was in the bra era. I was a little bit numbed emotionally. So I feel that same numbness, but it's not that much. And then I'm not insecure, so I don't really care about, but then it's like you're even less stimulated because you don't care about anything because you're not insecure. So I think I'm just trying to explain, like, I think why mid-sized princess energy can happen in some people, because it gives you something to like obsess over or be upset about, basically, or something to feel. It's like you feel something. Because a lot of times, like being towards maintenance or being in the average era, it's hard because there's just such a vacuum. There's nothing there. There's no like weight issue to even really think about. I'm not even trying to lose weight anymore. So it's like, how do you just exist without this huge goal or this arduous process or whatever the fuck after you've been doing it for years? That's hard. It's hard for the brain to adjust to. You know, I'm still working on my nutrient deficiencies. It's going very well though. That's why I don't really talk about it that much, because like my anemia is pretty much gone. I'm just like trying to build up my iron stores. I'll be done taking the iron pill in February. And then I take zinc plenty. And then towards, I think after this solstice time, like especially after Christmas, I can start eating more meat and stuff. I have to be so like carb and fat heavy right now because I'm just trying to stay energized. I'm very tired. And I have to try to get my dopamine up as much as I can. So I have had sugar and things like that, which that upsets people, but I don't really care. I'm going to be honest about it because I need energy, period. I have, you know, these coffees, which they have like a shit ton of caffeine in them and stuff like that, because it's like I need caffeine and I need sugar at this time, like, or I'm not going to make it. And then most of my effort at the gym is ass. Like it's not terrible, but my form is crap. I'm sure I'm not really maintaining my muscle that well, but I have to put most of my willpower into staying on track with the diet and with the calories, basically. Because at this time, with the anhedonia, food noise, etc., that I've been experiencing, I have to just really put my willpower towards that, and I know that it will get easier later. But I think a lot of people don't understand the relationship of the seasons when it comes to things like hypothyroidism. I had somebody who is extremely ignorant and stupid in my comments that I completely eviscerated and I made them look like a total idiot, which that gave me a little bit of a thrill, I'm not gonna lie, because sometimes your haters, they give you like complete activistic victory on a silver fucking platter. Like that bitch literally telling me I'm addicted to counting calories. Like, what a fucking dumbass. You are a pathetic piece of shit, basically. And also, apparently addiction doesn't mean anything anymore. Being addicted, like, can we just stop? Can we stop? Like, that is not an addiction. Like, I'm so sick of the food addiction narrative. Now being accused of being addicted to counting calories, it's like, you guys don't understand what an addiction is. An addiction is physically based, period. Like, y'all need to shut the fuck up, honestly, with that shit. You guys are dumb as hell. And then people be like, well, it's like gambling. Yeah, but that's a different part of the brain. Like, serotonin is not an addictive hormone, and serotonin is very involved in appetite and eating. So it's not. Like, it's just not. You guys are dumb as hell. It's totally different. It's a totally different part of the brain. It's so stupid. But anyways, yeah, I'm so addicted to the thing that nobody wants to do during the holidays. Like, you're a fucking dumbass. But it was just toxic ritualistic reinforcement. So it's like, you're going to hand me my activistic victory, something I've been talking about all year, like a fucking dumbass that I can use to point out, hey, this bitch wants me to gain all my weight back. Just like I told you guys, this is what they want. But I'm crazy or whatever because I pointed out. It's like, no, you're so dumb. Like, and that did give me a thrill, like I said. So I'm actually kind of thankful for that because, you know, fighting online, it gives you dopamine. You know, it does. So I needed it that day. I did. It helped me get up in the morning. So, because again, I have anhedonia right now. But no, I mean, I'm fine. Like I said, it's not really MSP levels, whatever. But it's just funny because it's funny when people give you that activistic victory and they don't even realize they're doing it because they're too dumb. So that was kind of funny to me. But the point is, like, you have to, like, not fall for this. Like, it will pass. My brain will adjust to the serotonin and I will be fine in a few weeks. And the anhedonia will go away. But a lot of times when people are in this process, they don't understand that. So they're like, oh my God, this is the new normal. This is how I'm going to be forever. It's never going to be the same. I'm never going to be like a normal person, blah, blah, blah. Like, people just go on this like never ending narrative. And it's like, no, just keep working out and just keep your calories consistent, or keep like somewhat of an amount of food that you're eating consistent. And you're not going to have that problem. Like, eventually your brain will adjust to the serotonin and your dopamine will feel like it goes back up and you're going to be fine. So it's like, you don't have to worry about it. It just takes time. And people are just so impatient, and people, if these feelings feel endless, they're not endless. They're not, you know? So I think that's why people regain so easily a lot of the time, because you get so bored. And because you get so bored, you get so food noisy. And because you get food noisy, then all you think about is food. And then it just turns into this cycle where you can start to regain the weight that you lost. But it doesn't, you don't have to. It does take discipline. It does take some willpower in the process. But as far as the actual like calories and stuff, it is so easy for me. But I think like you just got to be patient with yourself, you know, and to a certain extent with others, like, because you might be extra, because I know, like, for people who are emotional, it can be alarming to not feel as much. It can feel like you're not alive, or you can feel just odd. And it's like, no, you're fine. Like, you always have to remember, you're not your feelings. Your feelings are just something you have. They're not you. So it's like, you still exist, and you have to just be able to, like, let that void exist. And then it will fill in with other stuff. And you'll start to find other goals in life, and you'll start to find other things. But the anhedonia can feel depressive. And so it's like you can feel like I have to rush to fill this void. I have to rush to fill this goal or to fill this. And it's like you don't. You really don't. You can let things stay empty for a while and let things organically come in. And it's just better because then things are more organic. They're not rushed. You're not like in a mad dash. You're not trying to find the next thing. You're not trying to fill a void. Like you're just letting it sit. And that's what I've done. Like you really have to develop a relationship with boredom within downsizing. Like you have to get comfortable with it because it's going to happen. And a lot of people, they cannot handle boredom at all. And that's why they never get there. But you have to deal. So I'm dealing, like I'm fine, honestly. It's just, it's something I needed to talk about because I know that that's why a lot of people regain. Like I totally understand because you just want to feel stimulated and you're not, you know, which that could be like a bodily physical thing where your body wants you to put some weight on after you've lost or something. But if you just kind of stay consistent and get your nutrition up and stuff, your body's going to go back to normal and it'll be fine. Like I'll probably make an update later and I'll be like, I'm fine now, you guys, you know. I don't even think it will take that long. It might take like a couple weeks, maybe a month at the most. But it's like people get so impatient or like I said, like when you have anhedonia or anhedonia, it can feel like a minute feels like 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I understand that, but it's not like, I know it sounds harsh, but you have to just grow up. You just do. And I think for me, I have to say that to myself too. It's like, we have to grow up. Like life is boring a lot of the time. And especially if you're an adult, it's boring in general. Like you need to understand, like, you know, I do love that Lana lyric where she says, washing my hair, doing the laundry, late night TV, I want you only, you know, it's like, I don't think we as a society, we're not comfortable with stillness or silence or, you know, peace. We need to constantly be stimulated. And I think that could be holding you back with your goals because it's not always going to be that way. It's just not. And if we try to maintain a life that is that way, where everything is always happening all the time, we can create like a supernatural existence, which is what I would consider the TR. It's like a lot of times when we're in Hinge, we're trying to create an unnatural life or trying to be larger than life. And we literally become larger than life because we can't handle the mundanity and the normalcy of existence, which a lot of people have this expectation, like what life should be exciting all the time. And it's like through all of human history, there are boring routine moments in life, whether it's like washing clothes in the river or whether it's knitting or something, or whether it's just walking around the woods trying to hunt and there's nothing there, or you're trying to fish and you're just sitting there waiting for a fish. Like these are normal human experiences. Like a lack of stimulation is also normal. I think it's probably more normal than anything, you know. It's like washing your hair and doing the laundry. That is life, basically. And of course, we can have our spiritual pursuits. We can think about things deeply in those still moments. And then we have times of like a lot of activity and crazy things happening. Like that happens too. But it's okay if you're in a lull. And I hate to say that the millennial, it's okay, but it actually is okay to be boring, or it is okay to have a boring time in your life, or to just be routine and like wash your hair and do the laundry. Like it doesn't have to be a grand production every second of every day. And I feel like that pressure that we put on ourselves, especially within the TR, that can be one of the biggest psychological drives to never get out of this problem, because people want to have it so that they have something to freak out about. And it's a very lazy, uninspired destructive way of stimulating yourself. And it's like, just do literally anything else, literally. And you're going to be okay. You know, it's not just watch a horror movie, just watch The Substance. You know, that's what I do. And that was enough. You know, I don't have to have like this roller coaster emotion looking in the mirror. I can just watch The Substance and be like, oh my God, ew, you know? And I think that that's what people need to do. Like, you need to find what you can do to deal with that anhedonia if you're getting to maintenance, because you don't want to do anything crazy or destructive, but it's typically like you just want to feel kind of grossed out, or you want to feel kind of scared, or you want to feel kind of, you know, it's like go on a roller coaster or something. I don't know. Do something. Go to a theme park. You know? Go do something. Go visit a haunted location. Do something to get a thrill that isn't hinging, that isn't looking at the mirror, you know, and go freaking knit. Go learn how to sculpt. Do something tangible with your hands. Like, we don't do enough with our hands. And so it's like, if you need to, then you fucking need to. It's like, I'm just going to tell you, have a nice glass of shut the fuck up and just do a tangible hobby. Have a nice glass of shut the fuck up and go find something exciting or scary or spooky. Have a nice glass of shut the fuck up and read a YA novel with like a love triangle or something. Just do something. You know, don't create drama in your life. Especially if you're like auntie like me and you're in your 30s. It's like, we don't need to be acting like this. We just don't. And honestly, even your late 20s, it should start to calm down a little bit, because most of life is boring routine and most of life is mundanity. And we have to accept that, because that's a part of growing up. That's a part of being in reality. And find ways to romanticize the normal, find ways to be creative within the normal. And that's, I think, where the magic really happens. You know, the magic happens not from thinking about what we don't have, but working with what we do and creating something with what we do have. And you're going to be okay. I promise. You know? So those are my thoughts at this moment as I've reached maintenance. It was a perfectly executed reverse diet. I did it perfect. I didn't gain any weight at all, which is amazing, especially considering seasonal swelling, which I typically do have at this time. So to not gain anything even with that, I have zero complaints. It was a complete success. I was also totally proven right, basically, because if I didn't do it, I probably would have gained weight. So, and I didn't. So I'm like, okay, let's go. I'm going to just finish the year strong. I'm just going to count on Christmas. It's just still a little touchy. And I don't want to eat too much because I don't want to have worse anhedonia going into the new year and stuff. Like, I just need to stabilize, basically. So that's just for me. I'm not telling anybody else, you know, whatever. Have your Christmas. I don't really care. But just for me personally, I am going to track, because I don't want to have the anhedonia get worse. If I like eat a lot, then it's going to be worse. So that's just for me personally at this time. As I, you know, my reverse diet ended like right at Christmas, basically. So I have to be a little bit careful with that. But other than that, I mean, New Year's coming. A lot of people are going to come back on the wagon. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to be normal in January. That'll be interesting. This will be the first January that I'm not trying to lose weight in God knows how long. So that's going to be a trip to experience, but I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.